evening. How are you tonight? Are you surprised to see me? I'm surprised to be here. How's that? You know, it's been probably 13, what's that? Yeah, 13 days since I've done a live stream. Isn't that crazy? Time is just going by so fast. I have so much to update you on. I'm not going to get it all done tonight. I have to leave early on a flight tomorrow. And so, I mean, the chances of me getting through an hour tonight, not great, but I have a lot of content. And so we might. Um, all I can say is, like, I plan on doing better with more consistent streams. But now I'm looking at it. Do I have a little, well, I got a lot of gray going on here. Um, and I'm sorry. I mean, that's my apology. I'm sorry. I'd like to have a stream every night, but things are not in real estate. They're never like consistent. Like, for instance, over last weekend, I showed like 4 different buyers' properties. I got one under contract. It took all weekend. And that like screws stuff up. And then I've been doing some things. I've been working on my health. I've been walking. I've been trying to eat right, but that has gone totally out the window. It's just been gone. But like at the end of the day, I like to stream. At the end of the day, I want to see my peeps. And all I can say is thanks. I was just looking at the Rumble feed, and it says that the live stream is going to begin at 9:30 Eastern time. That would be 8:30 Central time, which is now. So the live stream should have started. Yet I see no. I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, good. Because I wasn't seeing people, and I need to see people. Let's go over what we should be talking about tonight. Well, like Apple put out the virtual reality Oculus. Wonder how that's going to go. Some people will say not so well. We're going to talk about 2 articles. One, well, they're both about housing affordability. I think that's kind of important. We'll talk about some of the stuff I'm seeing in the marketplace, and we'll go from there. A few tweets, things like that. I'll introduce myself now. My name is John Schenk. I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small residential real estate firm. We focus mainly on buyers buying homes and sellers selling theirs. I mean, that's the real estate business, residential. At night, I have done the Deerwood Realty live stream. I haven't been doing it enough. And it's normally around 9. I got here at 8:30 tonight, and I got to fix that too. But anyway, if you're interested in real estate commentary from a real estate broker that actually goes out and does deals, at least in St. Louis, you should probably watch. If that's not something that interests you and you want to talk about the Oculus, the virtual reality headset from Apple, we're going to talk about that too. So, I mean, there's things to talk about. I mean, we don't just have to stay on real estate. I'm not, while I enjoy real estate, I know better than to, I don't know, talk about it all the time because it gets irritating. So with that, let's get started. Now, I don't want to kill time. I'm not trying to kill time tonight. But I haven't really set it to where I need to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and we're going to talk about interest rates first. So here we go. Let me get over to the interest rate page. And you'll notice that's the Deerwood Realty website. And on this website, you can find listings. Normally, you can find listings right here. But if you've been a longtime follower, you'll notice that these pictures have not changed. And I'll let you guess in the comments below about how long it's been since these have changed. But it's been a while. I know the number. We'll get to it in a minute. But here's what we want to see. We want to see the 30-year fixed. I also kind of want to change my camera. No offense to you. I want it to be like this. Yeah, I like that better. I'm sorry. If it's too small for you on your screen, I understand. But anyway, the interest rates, the mortgage rates for the 30-year fixed, 6.98%. Not good. Not good. But here's what I'm seeing in the marketplace in St. Louis right now. Okay. I'm seeing multiple offers still. Now, I talked to a fellow out of Tennessee today, and he said that housing was down, or the market was down 30% from the highs. There are still multiple bidding, multiple offers on lower priced house, but he said above 3 million, there's not much going on. Now, for me, I've never sold a $3 million house, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if in St. Louis if it's hot or cold or not. And I don't know. I don't really care. I've kind of lost the interest in luxury homes are luxury homes. They are what they are. It's a market. I've never been real comfortable with the idea of like a niche market. Like I'm supposed to deal with only pools, or I'm supposed to deal with only horseback riding properties or properties by a lake. I've never been that guy. I've always thought that the relationship between the agent and the client is the most important thing. That is, you don't want to screw that up. If someone's nice enough to use you as an agent, you should be nice enough to not screw that up. And so that's what I try to do. So 7% is not good. We don't want to be near 7%. Now, in talking to other agents, we've all kind of noticed, like, look, here's what's happening. If you have a family member who's died, you put that house on the market and it sells quick at a stupid price, given that the house is probably dated. But there's no one really moving from their houses. Like there's no one really moving that doesn't have to, because their mortgages are in the 2s or the 3s, and they feel like that's the best deal for them. So they're not moving. It's frustrating in a way, because I'm still in a situation where, like, as a buyer, there's very little negotiating power, and it's just frustrating. Now, I did look at a $1.45 million home about 2 weeks ago, and I was not impressed in any way. The kitchen was small, and my buyers were not impressed either. I mean, the area was nice, but the house itself wasn't the right house for them. And so we let it go. We didn't put an offer. We didn't, we just figured that house has now dropped $200,000 in asking price. That's a pretty significant drop. I don't think my buyers are going to be interested at any number after they saw the kitchen. And isn't that kind of funny? I mean, there's certain features that you want in a house, and even at the high level homes, they just don't have them. Now, I talked to another friend of mine. We were looking at vacant land yesterday to build a house, and the thought there is by the time you buy the time you buy the lot, and by the time you build the house, you might still be lower than what a house would go for. So let's just say like a $700,000 house. Okay, you go look at the market. You can probably still build a house in St. Louis for less than 700 and have a better house than what you can buy at 700. And I think that's weird. It's strange to me. Anyway, let's, a while back, my transitions were bad, and they haven't really gotten any better, but I'm going to try. I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you my best. So here we go. We have the Deerwood Realty website. It's DeerwoodRealtySTL.com. I've had it for a long time. I want to go over a few things with you. So first of all, like I said, you may have noticed that there's been no new listings on the homepage. There's also been no new listings anywhere on the site since March of 2023. Now, what happened on March of 2023? I have no idea. But I don't have any new listings. Now, the St. Louis market is hot. There's lots of listings going on. I'm not participating in that, and I don't like it. In fact, I'm very angry about it. I emailed my IDX provider a number of times over the months. Now, you have to understand, I'm kind of busy. I don't have I don't have days I can spend on this anymore. Okay, I just don't. So I'll send an email. I won't get a response. I'll send another email a couple weeks later. Won't get a response. And I've been doing this now since March. And finally, I've had enough. So the other day, I was talking to my web guy, and I said, "Hey, man, this is crazy." And he said, "You're right." I said, I'm he said, why don't you try to call him? And so I went to the website. I was like, hey, there's no phone number. There's a contact us. So I put that in there and I said, hey, they're still charging me every month, but they're not providing for me. And so I'm announcing it tonight. It's 6/13/2023. I will have a new website. And I don't know when, but it's coming. And will it be exactly like this site? No, because I built this site, or I had it built a number of years ago, and things are different now. Between Zillow and like homes.com and a few of the others, they pretty much have 98% of the online search for homes. So it's not like I can compete with them. And to be honest, that's their entire business. At least it was Zillow. It was Zillow's entire business till they decided they were going to be real estate brokers for a while. iBuyers lost $435 million in a quarter and decided that wasn't the best move for them. So they angered their agents that used to pay them good money, and then they lost all that money. And so, I don't have any interest in advertising with Zillow. But my point is that this website isn't going to be. We're not putting $1 million in the site. No one goes to my site. So I'm just not going to do it. It's going to be cleaner. It's going to have some better things. But as far as marketing wise, I'm just not going to do it. But these are the things like when you're an entrepreneur, okay, I can't get everything done in a day or even 2 days or even a month or even a year. We just kind of work slowly on things. My main business is helping buyers and helping sellers. So if someone calls me and says, hey, can we see this house? Yes. I care way more about that than the website or anything else. So I don't know, put some suggestions in the comments, in the chat. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? If you know of an IDX broker that's better than every other one, let me know about that. I'd be interested. So moving on, let's see. I just want to make sure I've got my notes today, and I just want to make sure that I've got everything in order. All right. So new topic. I wanted to talk about this because it's irritating me, and I wonder if it's like bothering you. Like, Apple, the company, right? So when I was a kid, they had these Apple IIes or something, and like everybody had one. And then the Mac, we had that. I had one of those. Then they had those colorful ones in the mid '90s. That's when Steve Jobs came back. I didn't want one of those. It seemed a little off. Then there was like Nokia, and there was like BlackBerry, and there was like phone companies, right? And they had these phones. And then Apple's like, you know what? Let's just do a phone. It was a wonderful success. So they were good at computers. They're good at phones. And now, like, they jumped into the world of virtual reality with their new announcement. Let's take a look at this. I don't know if I don't know if they're going to paywall me, but here it is. Do you see this thing? These goggles? It says Apple Vision Pro isn't the future. Now, I was working and I think I saw something on Twitter or something, and it's like, hey, Apple just made their announcement and they're going to do an Oculus, which was like, well, it's like Google Glass. It's like, It just seems like, that's okay, fine. So if between you and me, you're like, okay, so it's Apple, so they're going to charge more for their product than anybody else. So what kind of number do you think that they're going to put on that, right? So you even got an ad above my thing right now, and it's like $500. Okay, so Apple's going to, if the Oculus is $500, then Apple's going to come out with something for what, $1,000? All right, fine. Well, what would you think to $3,500? Now, I've watched some TikToks. My stepson has an Oculus, and he put it away. And why did he put it away? Because it looks stupid. It just looks stupid. Like, I'm all for virtual reality. When I was a little kid, they had these games, like these video games, and they were more like actors in the games. Like, real people. It wasn't like cartoons. It was really cool. But I don't know. It changed. And then, I mean, now there's some ultra realistic games you can play, but $3,500 to look like an idiot. You know, I mean, like I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about it for a while. You remember the like Star Trek? They had the holodeck, like everything on the holodeck, like it's all fake, but you can play games. And I thought that was pretty cool. I would do that. I don't know though. I just don't feel comfortable wearing and then paying $3,500 for it. And my wife said she saw a video and it looks really cool. And it's like, I can declare to you right now that I, John Schenck, will not buy a $3,500 pair of virtual reality goggles, no matter who makes them, and it looks stupid. Unless, of course, inflation continues and then they cost $3,500, and that's like, you know, what $1 is today. It's just not where I'm at. Some people, conspiracy-minded, I don't want to say something that might get me booted off YouTube, but some conspiracy-minded people would say, hey, you know, they made it so that you could work from home and you could have these goggles from home because it benefits those technology companies. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But anyway, I don't want to do this. Let's go through the article here. It says, now this is a negative view of the product. I'm not in a positive frame, so I'm not going to be positive about either. But it says Apple Visions Pro isn't the future. The new mixed reality headset is an alarming misfire. Has Apple lost its innovation mojo? Well, that's a fair question. That's a fair question. How much have they done since the passing of Steve Jobs? I'm not a gambler, but I bet everything that Apple Vision Pro will flop. When the $3,500 mixed reality headset goes on sale in 2024, no doubt diehard Apple enthusiasts and VR, AR, augmented reality, I'm guessing, hobbyists will bring their sleeping bags and line up outside the Apple store doors, hooting and hollering and having a ball. Maybe some gamers will get on board. But the rest of us, no, absolutely not. Don't be ridiculous. That's not a revolutionary gadget, no matter how confident Tim Cook looks when he says it is. It's a rare misfire and a sign that Apple is losing its ability to turn tech geek novelties into normie must-haves. It doesn't augur the future. I went with augur. It could be augur, but that seems weird. So much as suggests that Cupertino doesn't have a clear view forward. Well, I mean, to be fair, they have to go to some industry, right? They have to have some new marketing. I mean, people aren't going to buy phones forever, right? No, I think they will, come to think of it. Anyway, every successful Apple product of the past 2 decades has disappeared into our lives in some way. The iPhone in our pockets, the iPad in our purses, the Apple Watch living on our wrists, and the AirPods resting in our ears. My colleague Lauren Good wrote this week, but after demoing the device at the Worldwide Developers Conference. Now, just to be fair, okay, I don't care. I don't want an Apple Watch. I don't want one. Don't get me one for Father's Day. I don't care about AirPods. Don't care. When I see people with AirPods when I'm walking, I'm like, whatever. They don't want to talk to me. That's what I understand. And I do like iPads. I would like one for my listing appointments, but I don't take one anymore. It doesn't seem like people want to work that way. They just want to talk and see if you're not crazy. Anyway. But the Vision Pro is unlike any other modern Apple product in one crucial way. It doesn't disappear. Instead, Good wrote, the device settles on your face, hides your eyes, sensory organs that are a crucial part of the lived human experience. The same was true of all virtual reality headsets and augmented reality glasses, she conceded. But the Vision Pro marked the first time an Apple product had made such an intrusion into people's lives. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. I feel like everything is an intrusion into my life. At this point, like everything is, and I mean, I think we almost look for it, in the sense that like your life is kind of boring if you don't have a bunch of stuff buzzing at you, and everything. And speaking of that, I got to turn my phones down. I said phones. It's bad. Reading Lauren's review converted me to a full-fledged Vision Pro dimmer. It brings home the reality that an Apple headset, no matter how nifty its specs, is still a big honking gizmo plonked between its wearer and the rest of the world, inherently a barrier more than a conduit. I mean, I'm never going to be able to wear this thing outside without somebody attacking me with a baseball bat. And I don't want to incite violence, but I mean, when somebody looks like an idiot, I mean, they're almost, I don't know. They shouldn't look like an idiot. That's all. Although Apple is positioning it as disruptive, Vision Pro is the latest in a long string of high-profile, splashy headsets designed to bring augmented reality, virtual reality, or both to the masses. Its predecessors include Meta's Quest Pro, Microsoft's HoloLens, which I didn't even know existed, the Magic Leap 2, which I don't know anything about, and Google Glass, which I heard about, but like people in France didn't like it, and they were punching people that were wearing it. That's all I know of that. Didn't Samsung come out with something like where you take your phone and you put your phone in the thing? I don't know. 4 mega hyped headsets pitched as paradigm shifting, all of which whiffed. Now look, if you have a new product, don't you have to hype it? How else is anybody going to know it exists? So I don't fault them for that. Just checking. Vision Pro is the newest, most advanced iteration of the idea. No doubt that doesn't change the challenge it faced, which is the same challenge that hobbled every VR and AR headsets that came before it, the whole alternative reality headset thing. That's right. They hit it right on the nose. It's ugly. Like, as my colleague Boone Ashworth recently reported, there's ample evidence that people don't want to spend lots of time wearing this type of device for aesthetic reasons. Snorkel masks for dorks. Practical reasons, cumbersome activity limiting, and for social reasons. It's an isolation chamber. You slide over your eyes to experience an individualized simulacrum. I don't even know that word. Of the world instead of your shared reality. The very basic truth that the appetite for daily use headsets is simply not there has already damaged Vision Pro's reception. The normally rapturous public response to a big new Apple announcement has been tempered with skepticism this time around, with plenty of people pointing out that the VR AR market is already littered with bold named failures. Kind of harsh, but I mean, again, like, just like between you and me, like, let's just say a year from now, I buy one of these things for $3,500. I don't have $3,500 to buy one, but let's just go down the road here. And I show up to a listing appointment with virtual reality glasses on. Am I getting the listing? No. Now, I tell you that right now, I'm not getting the listing. First of all, you look like you're an idiot. Then you're being rude to the people that are in front of you. Now, you could say something, I guess, weird, like, let's all put on our virtual reality glasses and go over your listing. But it seems kind of weird because you're actually at the listing right there. You don't really need augmented reality for that. You're right there. Now, can I envision a space where I would want to go through a listing, like, say I'm representing a buyer, okay, and we want to go to a house and use virtual reality while we're in the house? No. I mean, if you're a real estate, if you bought a house in the past 5 years, have you ever noticed that the pictures online don't really match the house that you go see? It's because we make the pictures look better than they really are. When you actually go to the house and see, like, oh, this is a dump, okay, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's why you go look at the house before you buy it. Don't rely on the pictures. So I don't know that that would help either. So what am I using this for? I can't use it for work. I can use it for games, but I'm 45 years old, and I just feel like if I'm playing video games all day, that's just not, even though I grew up with video games, I just don't think that, I mean, maybe if you're retired and got nothing else better to do with your life, okay. But now, it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Let's see. It says, even the more enthusiastic assessments of Vision Pro tend to fall back on the argument that Apple is simply too good at hardware to fail. It's just not like a regular tech company. It's a cool tech company. It could be that the market just needed Apple to arrive, mused the New York Times' Kevin Roos, for example. I don't think that's true. Do you think, like, what's weird to me is, do you even think of Apple as like a cool new tech company anymore? I mean, they're one of the oldest tech companies there are. I just don't see it. It says Apple has undeniably impressive history of making formerly niche gadgets into ubiquities, even if said niche gadget is kind of silly. Well, I mean, they got those AirPods. They're kind of weird. People like them. I mean, didn't somebody pay like a stupid amount of money for that Beats by Dre? I don't know. No, I have AirPod Pros, and I wear them for like 5 hours a day, even though they hurt my ears, and I keep accidentally putting them through my washing machine. And there was really nothing in the world wrong with the old wired headphones they used to give you for free with an iPhone. Apple's influence. Now, see, I didn't jump on board with that. My stepdaughter does have the AirPod Pros, and she really had to have them. She has the watch. I mean, it's like a cool thing. Like, look at me, I'm cool. I'm not in that spot. It says nobody in this great big world of ours actually needs an iPad except for parents of toddlers on airplanes, but they're popular as hell anyways. I like a good a good iPad. Apple's influence, again, if any company would make mixed reality VR, AR headsets look appealing for daily wear, Apple would certainly be a prime contender. And then it says, but that would be its heaviest lift yet, and Apple isn't the same company it used to be. When was the last behavior-shifting new Apple product launched? The type that gets absorbed in the daily fixture. It certainly hasn't happened since Jony Ive left in 2019. Johnny? Maybe it was AirPods in 2016. Apple's track record is solid, yes, but AirPods came out 7 years ago. The company's best times are up against different competition now, and the path it has to forge here is far trickier than convincing the plebes that stupid Bluetooth earbuds that are seriously so easy to accidentally put through the washing machine are superior to wired headphones that never require charging. I mean, I'm all for like that problem. I mean, I get it. It says there's a reason even Apple's own employees have expressed doubts about Vision Pro. It's a tough sell on a conceptual level, and no matter what the execution looks like, it'd be difficult to pull off. To make matters worse, the execution is flawed. If Apple had found a way to make a mixed reality headset that weighed 4 ounces or functioned more like regular glasses, maybe. Right now, though, it's offering a marginally sleeker upgrade to a decidedly uncool-looking genre of headset. The nerd goggles look like nerd goggles. Well, that's harsh. True, but harsh. The silly part is Apple knows this. As Bloomberg's Mark Gurman pointed out, it did not release any photos of Tim Cook or any other high-ranking Apple figures wearing the device. There's no reason other than meme control for Tim Cook to be standing next to the biggest product of his tenure rather than wearing. In fact, it just looks strange to not be wearing it. Strange and telling. Well, that's fair. I lost like 3 viewers, and I don't know what I did. I don't know what I said that pissed them off, but they just left. And when you're a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of viewers to begin with, it kind of hurts. I'm not going to lie. Imagine Apple execs pacing in front of a bulletin board covered with hundreds of copies of the photo of Robert Scoble showering with his Google Glass and brainstorming how to do the exact opposite while promoting their own headset, never realizing that Robert Scoble showering with his Google Glass was a symptom of releasing a terminally corny product and not the cause. It says, despite the minimal presence of memeable images of execs or media with the headset strapped to their faces, the promotional materials of Apple selected to explain its uses underlines that primary issue. This is an antisocial device, one in which the average person would be wholly reasonable to reject and even ridicule. I agree with that. Like, it's for like single people that are sad. The company is getting ribbed online for one promotional image in particular depicting a father with his young children wearing the device in their home. As the children play on the ground, the father looks on wearing his Vision Pro, or maybe he's ignoring them and watching Avatar, or gabbing on an immersive version of FaceTime. It looks cartoonishly dystopian, more like a marketing still for an especially obvious episode of Black Mirror than something a tech company would deliberately select to lure people unless their target market was emotionally dysregulated parents. Ugh. It says, we are living in an era where tech's power players are getting it wrong on a colossal scale and alarming frequency. Think of FTX or NFTs or crypto's current meltdown. or Meta's entire flailing pivot to the metaverse. That was something. Big tech and its power players are not infallible, and this yassified Oculus is proof that even Apple can make missteps. One can only hope that the unavoidable failure of Vision Pro might clear the company's sights, galvanizing actual innovation instead of this disappointing foray into gimmickry. So what I would say with that is the author's not a fan. Author's not a fan, and I'm not a fan of this product. If you said, John, what would be a price in which you would be comfortable paying for the Vision Pro? And there's not a number. Even if someone gave me one for free, I'd still feel like an idiot wearing it. I don't even care what it does. I know this is how far out of it I am. Can you answer phone calls with the Vision Pro? Like, could telemarketers use it? Because right now it's just stupid. It's not helpful. So anyway, look, if the product itself gains popularity and everybody starts using it, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, okay, go for it. I wouldn't be sad. I just don't care. You say, but you do care because you did an article. All right, fair point. It's hard to believe that people would want to wear ski goggles, essentially, when they're not skiing. I want the holodeck. Maybe that's what took all my viewers away, was when I said the holodeck. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving on to Twitter. Here's the first one. It says, in terms of future inflationary pressures buried in asking rents, this is kind of worrisome chart. It shows that inflation pressures are building up again in asking rents. Certainly true here in North Texas. It says for 7 months, core CPI hasn't improved at all, stuck at 2.5% of the Fed target. Services CPI accelerates. Rent's not paying along. Used vehicle CPI spikes, but energy plunge. Powell has been talking about this. Energy cannot plunge forever. I don't want rental pressures. And we're going to see some other tweets that seem to indicate that perhaps some others are thinking that that's not going to happen. Oh. It says, then he wrote down there, it says, then there was another response to, with $87,500 of debt and zero save, Jack and Christina say that no one will rent to them an apartment suitable for their 2 kids. Annual income over $200K, 87 in debt and zero savings, and surprised nobody wants to rent to them. I don't know. If rents go up, that's going to hurt people even more. This was interesting. I was kind of curious. It's from the Disruptor. It says half of millennials have side jobs before student loan repayment hits. Okay. So it says America failed millennials so badly that they're turning $1,000 per month side hustles. Now look, have you ever heard that overused phrase or term, the gig economy? I don't even know what to make of it. Like California passed a law that says you can't be a subcontractor. I don't exactly know what that was about, but it seemed silly at the time. I have different ways of looking at this. One, like millennials, like to me, that's like a go-getter spirit. My stepson, who's in his 20s, was like, he was doing DoorDash and he was hustling. He was making a go of it. I don't know. I don't work in a 9-to-5 job, and I don't work in a salaried job. I literally have to help people buy homes and sell them for me to make it, like mortgage payments and whatnot. Would I take a side job? I feel like I have like a lot of side jobs. I have the YouTube channel. I have some other things. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a side job. I think it's a bad thing, like if you're at a job and you're not giving your 100%. That I don't agree with. Or like, say you work a 9 to 5, and then you go out like and work as a bouncer at a club until like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and then you come back and work as your regular job. I mean, that's just a hard life. I don't want to begrudge anyone, especially if they're, doing well during the day. I don't know. I realize employment has changed in America. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this. Lance Lambert, he's breaking the news that Streamlick Starwood eyes the sale of more than 2,000 rental homes. Okay, Starwood to sell off 2,000 single-family rentals. Now, let's read the rest of the Lance Lambert. By the way, he's he's a writer for Fortune magazine. He follows me, so I've got some cred. I hope he never ever doesn't follow me never ever unfollows me, because I'd be sad. You can see that it says follows you. It says 3 things: residential real estate, in particular single-family homes, has fared better than commercial properties such as offices. That's true. Fed tightening has coincided with a big uptake in redemption requests for firms like Starwood. So what that's saying is as the Fed is tightening, people are asking for their money. They want to leave the fund. And number 3, the math isn't that great right now for institutional home buyers, and they're pulling back. The firms I've talked to blame spiked borrowing costs, frothy home prices, and decelerated rent growth. It isn't just Starwood. Invitation Homes was a net seller in Q1. American Homes for Rent was also a net seller in Q1 2023. So I would say that this is in line with what we saw from that Redfin report that said more than 50%, I believe more than 50% of the institutions have either not bought in Q1 or were considering divesting in their homes. Now, when I was during the just hot market like last year in July, I would have, when I put a house on the market, the American Homes for Rent, that's BlackRock, they would write an offer and send it to me that was more than asking and say, if your buyer would accept this, like they don't have to do anything but leave. Like just leave the house and we'll buy it. And that was kind of crazy because whenever somebody asked me, like, do you have an offer on a house? I already did. Like the minute I listed it, I already had one offer. And how do I say this? An offer at asking during that time in June or July of last year was almost like a slap in the face, because I knew I was going to get $30,000 or $40,000 more in asking from like the other 30 offers I was going to get. I'm just going to tell you my stance, and I just don't believe that institutional investors should be in the single-family home market. This is if I could preserve America, if I could make America the America that I see in my mind, institutions would not own thousands and thousands of single-family homes. That's not what they were designed for, and I don't think it benefits the people that live in the homes, and I don't think it benefits the larger population. Now, how does that gel with me as a real estate agent? I mean, have I helped people buy homes for rentals? Yeah, but like it's one guy, and he has to go to the bank and pay like twice the mortgage rate that someone else, like a single family homeowner, has to pay. And he's not going to buy more than like 10 houses in his lifetime. I mean, when you're selling 2,000 homes in a quarter, I just feel like there's something wrong with it. Now, look, I didn't get to it tonight because I got stuff to do, I guess. But I'm not necessarily a fan of the short-term rental either, the Airbnb model. Again, I mean, there's a place for it, okay? But I just don't think that it's good for everyone. I think we all suffer for those things. So anyway, should you, like, if you're thinking of listing your house, should you care that, what is it, Starwood or Yeah, should you care that Starwood is selling off 2,000 single? Well, I mean, if it's in a place where you are living, like Phoenix, like the iBuyers went crazy in Phoenix, so they all like, it's like a classic pump and dump that they had Zillow and Open Door still in business? I don't even know. They all were in Phoenix and they were just buying up stuff left and right. Then they decided that wasn't a good idea because they were losing money. I think wasn't Redfin even in the iBuyer? Oh yes, they were. They were losing their ass too. If you're in Phoenix, I guess you would care because you're probably not going to get that good of a deal as a seller. But the market right now is so hot in St. Louis, and it shouldn't be. I mean, inventory's up. Days on market is up, but prices are also up. So anyway, I thought this was interesting. This is from Steve Soretsky. I like it. Bidding wars are still raging across the Vancouver housing market. Prices being pushed to some very elevated levels does not feel sustainable given the mortgage rates, but the beat goes on for now. Suffice to say, not a great risk reward for buyers right now. Patience is required. Now, look, I agree with that, but I've been looking up listings. I was looking up just what I've sold and what I've helped people buy in the past 5 years today. And some of the prices that I see, I mean, they were too expensive then. And it seems like they're 50% higher now. It just seems wrong. It seems wrong. So I thought this was interesting. It says Inverse Kramer. It says, what happens if you buy a house and a few years later the housing bubble bursts and the price is reduced? Say you buy a house at $500,000, pay for a few years, and then the house is valued at a lot less. Does the money you paid on the mortgage essentially pay off the house faster? Are you owed money? Thanks. This is kind of hilarious. It says, not sure, tagging my real estate friends, and the Florida couple says, right, you still owe whatever your remaining balance is. This is true. This is true. It doesn't matter what the value of the home is. If it goes down, you're still on the hook for the higher number. That's why I always thought the refinancing thing was a little off. You're going to refinance this house down the road, but don't you have to have equity in the home to do it? Doesn't have to appraise for something? I don't know. Darth Powell, what if, one, there was never a shortage of housing? Two, they built more homes than ever in a history in response. Three, the working age demographics trajectory collapsed. Four, homes coming to market began to rocket. There is this argument that there's all this phantom inventory. There is this argument that they've built too many houses. There is this argument that there's not a shortage in housing. What I'm sensing, if everybody has a house and they have two houses and three houses, well, they're only going to live in one. That's what was happening to me like in 2017, 2018. I would get called. I used to do construction. People would say, hey, can you fix this up? I need to sell it. And they were underwater, so they didn't have any money to pay me to fix the house up so they could sell it and make money. But they lived in a different house, so they didn't really care if it went into foreclosure. Anyway, those are the tweets I selected tonight. I don't know if they were thought-provoking or not. You could leave a response in the chat. You could leave a response in the comments if you're watching later. We're going to move on to articles. I thought this was interesting. This is from Business Insider. I hope it doesn't do, sometimes it does, the paywall on me. It says, housing has become so unaffordable that over 75% of homes on the market are too expensive for middle-income buyers. And then I guess the immediate response is, sucks for you. I'm not a middle-income home buyer. Well, that's not very nice. It's not very nice. I'm not going to read the bullet points because I feel like it takes away from the article. It says the U.S. housing market is so unaffordable, over 75% of homes on the market are too expensive for middle-class buyers, according to a recent report from the National Association of Realtors and Realtor.com. It's largely due to the shortage of housing supply. See, now they're all on the shortage of housing supply. I don't know if there's a shortage of housing supply. I mean, there's a shortage of good housing supply on the market in the sense that when I go see a house, where it's like 30 years outdated and they want like a premium for that. And then on top of it, I'm going to have to fight with like 17 or 18 other offers just to get it for my buyer. I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of supply out there. It says, thanks to elevated mortgage rates, the housing market is missing around 320,000 homes. Homes priced at or below $256,000. The maximum price a middle income buyer earning up to $75,000 can afford. But I think that's kind of good for, if you can make that kind of money a year, that's good. Anyway, of the 1.1 million listings on the market in April, now look, we're in June. See, it takes a long time for these trends to be kind of analyzed. It says, buyers can only afford 23% of them, the report said. That's less than half of what the group could afford 5 years ago, when around 50% of all listings in the market were considered affordable for that group. The 3 metropolitan areas with the largest inventory of available homes are currently located in Ohio. Meanwhile, El Paso, Texas, Boise, Idaho, and Spokane, Washington have the fewest numbers of listings considered affordable. So if you're looking for a house, it's probably not the best place to go look right now in Washington. It says, even with the current level of listings, interesting. It says the housing affordability and shortage issues wouldn't be so severe if there were enough homes for all price ranges. National Association of Realtors senior economist Nadia Evangelou said in a statement. So where's Lawrence Yun? What happened to him? Our country needs to add at least 2 affordable homes for middle-income buyers for every home listed for upper-income buyers. The U.S. housing market has slowed in 2023, with high mortgage rates sidelining both buyers and sellers. Existing homeowners are discouraged from listing their properties for sale, as many of their properties were financed in the last decade of ultra-low interest rates. Well, that's true. I don't know that it has not slowed for me. Is it because I'm a lifer? It doesn't matter. I'll just keep working. The result is an inventory shortage that could last for the next several years, which has pushed up home prices, made unaffordable even worse. Housing has never been so unaffordable for Americans, according to data from the Mortgage Bankers Association, with the group's Purchase Applications Payment Index rising to a record high of 172.3 in April. Now look, if there's an inventory shortage, that means the prices are just going to keep going up. We don't want that, do we, if we're trying to buy a house? Affordability is also unlikely to improve until mortgage rates ease, which will incentivize more homeowners to list their properties for sale. But that's an uncertain prospect, as the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate surpassed 7% in May, when it has hovered around 2-decade highs. Mortgage rates will likely pull back to just 6% by the end of the year, Redfin's chief economist told The Insider. Well, what good does that do right now? We're in June. You've only got 6 months to lower it. Something's got to happen. That's the way I see it. Last article of the night. Housing market is so detached from fundamentals that a leading research firm predicts the pause in home price declines is about to prove temporary. So you see what this article is saying already from the headline. Things are so screwed up in the housing market that house prices will not go down. That's terrible. That's a terrible situation. And you may say, John, well, you're just happy because the higher the prices, the more money you make. I don't really see it that way. I'll be honest with you. I mean, if a house goes up $5,000, I make like maybe $200. It isn't that exciting for me. I could care less. This is by Lance Lambert. He follows me, and he wrote an article. Back in early January, economists at Capital Economics put out a report arguing that U.S. housing market demand has finally bottomed out following last year's mortgage rate-induced pullback. Not long after that report was published, housing metrics began to show a bounce back up as the 2023 spring housing market came to life after falling for 7 straight months between July of 2022 in January of 2023. U.S. home prices, as measured by the seasonally adjusted Case-Shiller National Home Price Index, rose in February and March. However, in that January report, the UK research firm predicted, why are we doing a UK research firm in the United States? Anyway, predicted that U.S. home prices had not reached the bottom. Peak to trough, Capital Economics expected U.S. home prices to fall 8%. Fast forward to June, and Capital Economics put out a new report titled Pause in home price declines to prove temporary. Your part argues that following the resilient 2023 spring housing market, we had a resilient. I don't know about that. That's dicey. Home prices in the second half of the year will revert back into correction mode. The 7-month run of house price declines recently ground to a halt, with the Case-Shiller index showing an increase in price in both February and March. This was partly driven by the temporary boost. By the way, we're doing February and March. We're in June right now. We're talking about February and March. It's so far behind. This was partially driven by the temporary boost to demand at the start of the year from declining mortgage rates, but rates have since returned close to the double-decade high set in October, which has caused demand to fall to its lowest levels in almost 30 years. Given this, in a weakening economy, we can expect sales will remain low and that price growth will turn negative again later this year. With the exception of CoreLogic and Zillow, most economic models continue to project house price declines in 2023. The underlying reason is that housing affordability, or better put, the lack of affordability, has become strained at levels not seen since the housing bubble. In order for those forecasters to be right, they'll need home price declines in the seasonally slow second half of the year to be big enough to wipe out all the gains accrued during the seasonally warmer first half of the year. I don't see that happening. Keep in mind the national home prices can fall without prices falling in every market. That's exactly right. So here in St. Louis, like I said, things are pretty darn good. But if you're in Phoenix, things are apparently not great. I don't know. If I had somebody in Phoenix, like an agent that wanted to chat one night, we could do that. We could set that up. You should probably email me. The lowest point in January, seasonally adjusted U.S. home prices were 3% below their 2022 peak. Following the uptick through March, seasonally adjusted U.S. home prices are 2.3 below their 2022 peak. I don't know. What do you think? We're going to go higher with the house prices. We're going to go lower. I think we're going to go higher, and then just a collapse. You asked my opinion. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't. Well, what did we learn tonight? You learned my opinion on virtual reality glasses from Apple. You know that I'm not a big fan of huge investments in housing. That is, like Wall Street buying up single-family homes. I'm sorry if I disappointed you on that one. We learned that house prices may just be sticky. They may not go down like we're thinking. And we learned that houses are unaffordable for 75% of the American population. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm going to head out tonight. I won't be around until at least this weekend. If I do come back, I'm going to be out of town for a couple days. But I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or something, put them in the comment section, and I will see you later in the week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday-ish. Bye.